live.
Hey, yo. Óyame, chico. Shout out, rest in peace to Scott Hall, a.k.a. Razor Ramon. I know that's not basketball related. I'm sorry for everybody. It hit me hard as well. Just guys, so I can take a basketball, whip it at somebody, elbow somebody in the face, and throw somebody to the ground. Am I that entitled? Am I that privileged? Just ask it.
That was the most unhinged I've ever seen LeBron in his entire career. He was completely losing it all night. I don't think he likes getting his ass kicked every night. He looked rough last night. He looked like a guy fighting Father Time a little bit. So yeah, that was an interesting night.
Hashtag he could suck it. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on To The Point with
Skip
and the King. You guys know what to do. Go down there, click subscribe. We're still waiting our 4th subscriber to give away this Raptors 2. You guys can wear it. Winter's almost over. Maybe we'll wear it next winter. Maybe wear it in the summer as a beanie. It's yours. One of you guys. We're just going to pick you guys randomly. But today, I got to say, I'm very thankful and appreciative that we have the one and only Prab Waraich from the Waraich Report. You guys, if you guys have not checked out his podcast based on the Raptors, you suck. Okay? You guys better go check that out. Go click subscribe, click like on that. We will leave a link. Prab, my friend and a great friend of the show, how are you doing today, my brother?
I'm good. How are you doing? Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome, and I think we appreciate it more. You and I always go back and forth with this thank you thing. It's so funny. Okay, so let's get into this. You're one of your favorite Raptors players that you've seen on the court. I have to ask you a question about the one and only Precious Achiuwa. Do you think over recently, or maybe over the season, how has his defense or his offense, well, actually his defense, affected the Raptors this season in order for them to be in that 7th seed, by the way, chasing the 6th seed, 1 game away?
Wait, so Brian, you're asking me about Precious's defense?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
well, I think, here's the thing. He's not a green rim protector, and I don't expect him to be. He's, 6'8" at best with shoes on. We don't know a lot of basketball players' height because they always list them with shoes on. He's not a green rim protector, let's be honest, and he's never going to be one. So I think fans need to realize that that's who he is. But in terms of individual defense, I think he does a really good job because Raptors seem to forget. We want a rim protector. We want a big man who can shoot threes. We want a big man who's able to rotate and, a big man that's able to do it all. There are very few big men that can actually do that ever. Even when you look at the dominating big man right now in Joel and Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic isn't a great defender. He's not a rim protector. I mean, look, they don't have that foot speed that Precious Achiuwa does, so you can't have it all. I think Precious is a solid defender. I think he's a center the Raptors need. Now, if this was the olden NBA, he'd probably be a power forward, but in today's NBA, he's listed as a center. And now that he's adding his three-point shot, I know, sorry, Dougie, that's your part for offense. We're talking about his defense, but he's able to do multiple things here, right? So on defense, you saw him against LeBron James. He's physically a lot stronger than his frame shows. He's listed at 6'8", 227, 230 pounds. He's a lot tougher. He's able to guard some of the bigger centers, which is great. Obviously, he can't guard Joel Embiid. I don't think anyone can, but it is what it is. I would have liked the Raptors to sign another center just in case, but Precious Achiuwa is good for what we have in terms of his defense. I like what he's doing, and I like the fact that he's able to switch on to different types of players and not only centers, because we saw what the Celtics did against Marc Gasol, and we won't have that problem going into this year's playoff because we have Precious Achiuwa.
So wait, hold on, Skip. So you think his defense is decent?
I think his individual defense is good. I wouldn't call it great, but good.
Okay, Skip.
Okay, so
you had something to say to that.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in on that. So I think you're totally underselling Precious on defense. I think he's actually one of the better Raptors defenders by the numbers as it bears it out this season. He's got great instincts on the defensive end. He's got basically he's a freak athlete, right? Like you look at his body, he's a very, very elite athlete. He's probably the best natural athlete on the Raptors right now, based on where they all are on their age curves. I mean, you could say Pascal 5 years ago or something, but he's probably the best natural athlete right now. And he's got the foot speed to stay with guards. He's big enough to stay with bang with bigs, bang with tough forwards. And I don't think we can really, it's fair to evaluate him as a center, as a rim protector. He's not that. He's a modern day center, but he's a power forward. Like that is what we should be comparing him to. If you look at him, I think almost honestly, like a decent comp, he's not quite at this level yet, but a decent comp is just like a younger version of OG, right? Like a guy who can really body up centers, but also stay with guards. So he's a very solid defender. Let's see, there's a couple of advanced stats here. So he's fourth on the team in defensive rating. Obviously, defensive rating is a team stat, but your better defenders are going to be higher up on that stat. And he's first on the team in defensive rebounding percentage. So that's not exactly defense, but he's good. He's one of the better players on the team at finishing possessions, which is important. So all in all, I think he's a very strong defender. I think if anything, what he needs to work on is his offense.
Okay. This is where we're going with this one. Prab, now I want to ask you a question here, since Skip just touched on his defense, and so did you. Based on what Precious Achiuwa has shown, okay, what do you think his bright spots are, or his negative spots that he needs to work on to make your Toronto Raptors a better team?
Are you speaking overall, like offense and defense, or just strictly defense?
You tell me what's wrong, you tell me what's right.
I think some of the major holes in his game that I have seen that a lot of fans have noticed is tunnel vision. Every time he gets the ball, he doesn't look around. Now, he's actually gotten a lot better as the season has progressed. You'll notice he's taking less shots in comparison to when he started the season. He was taking a lot of shots. Every time he touched the ball, he would look for his own shot, much like with Gary Trent Jr., but he would attack the basket and not look anywhere else at the three-pointer shooters or anyone else. I think he's gotten better in terms of figuring out his role, that he will be able to get some shots, but he also needs to pass the ball to some of the other guys like Pascal, Fred, and Scotty, and Gary Trent Jr. as well. So I think that's the major hole I'm still seeing with him. Again, he is a young player. We do need to keep that in mind. He obviously will improve with time, but those are just some of the things I would like to see with him. A combination of size and speed, which he has, but I also would like him to use that to his advantage and find some of the other guys that may be open at the three-point line, or just do a little bit better job at passing and finding his teammates. I think that's the one major hole I'm seeing with Precious Achiuwa.
What do you think will be a plus side for him that he can work on maybe during the season to make the Raptors better?
Rob?
I think. Sorry,
I'm asking you, Prab.
Sorry, my guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I'm putting you on the spot. You're Waraich Report. You're Prab Waraich. You the man. Gotta ask you. What do you think he can work on?
No, sorry, guys. I gotta mention my internet is probably the least stable of any YouTubers out there. So I heard you for 3 seconds and then you paused for 2 seconds. So I was like, did he say Brian or Prab? That's why I continuously asked. So, I think the one major plus, and we've seen this a lot lately with Precious Achiuwa, is his three-point shooting. And I want him to continuously get better and better at that. He's been able to do it throughout a stretch of games, but I want him to become a much better three-point shooter as the season progresses and just throughout the season. I don't want a 5 or 7 game stretch where he shoots great and then he struggles. I think three-point shooting is the big key for Precious Achiuwa on him being successful in helping the Raptors reach that next level, because having your center being able to shoot that three-point ball just stretches the floor for guys like Pascal and Scotty. I've said this in the past. Just having that ability. I mean, Raptors fans were saying we need a stretch big that can, really well stretch big that can shoot three-pointers. And if Precious is able to do that, then he provides a little bit of everything what we want from our center. And I think that would be a huge bonus for the Raptors moving forward, not only because of Pascal and Scotty, but also because our team could always use three-point shooting outside of obviously OG, Fred, and Gary Trent Jr. So
now, Skip, I have to ask you a question here.
Yep.
Do you think Precious should focus more on his ball handling or his basketball IQ, where do you think he should go there? Because Prab, you just talked about that with his passing.
Yeah.
Do you think he should focus, you think he should work on that?
Yeah. So I think basically what I was getting at there is I think basically what he needs to work on overall is that thing you call basketball IQ, basketball instincts, whatever it is, and that ball handling falls under that mantra. So does just decision making in general, right? Like when you have the ball in your hands, what are you doing with it? Because optimally, I think Precious's role would be as a finisher on the team, not as an initiator, not as a ball handler, as a guy who operates in the post. Even if you're catching and shooting threes in the corner, that's still finishing plays, right? As opposed to being a guy who's forced to initiate. But he's actually really struggled to finish plays at the rim this year. He's got one of the lower points per shot attempts in the entire league among centers. He's really, as nice as his 3-point shooting has been, and it's been a nice little boost over the past couple of months to see him really canning those corner threes. Still has to work on the above the break threes, I think, a little bit, but especially the corner threes have been going down. But he hasn't been finishing well in the paint at all. His 2-point percentage is actually way down from what it was even last year with Miami. And a lot of that is because when he's getting the ball, he's getting into the post, he's driving, and he's not making the right decisions. He's taking it up when he shouldn't be taking it up. He's not passing. How many times have we seen him dribble out the shot clock, either get a turnover, shot clock violation, just because he gets stuck. He's like stuck in place. And I think decision-making is going to be a big thing. If he wants to continue to go forward and be a ball handler, he's going to need to learn to make not the complicated pass, not the Scotty Barnes no-look shootout to it, outlet pass to a shooter in the corner. Just you probe, you drive, it's not there, you kick it out. Like that's a very simple play, right? Like if it's not there, realize that it's not there and find something else to do. That's one thing that he definitely has to work on. And I think it's really interesting because he is a very solid defensive player already at this point in his career. So there's no reason why he can't bring those skills to bear on the offense side of the ball, at least as far as decision-making goes. Whether he can become that next level type of player, I think the Raptors are really working him into these positions because they want to see him develop. He's still only 22, so they want to see him develop into a different type of scorer than he is right now. So they're letting him fail a little bit. But at the same time, at some point, he's going to have to learn how to play his role, make the right decisions, and get out of trouble when he's in trouble, essentially.
Well, can I say a few things there that you guys have touched on?
Yeah.
I'll start with you, Prab. You mentioned his assists. Okay, he is up by 0.1 assists per game since the All-Star weekend. Now, Skip and I did touch on this on our last episode.
He's 16th on the team in assist percentage, and there's only 15 guys on the roster. So I should tell you.
That's okay. He went up. That's a positive. That's a plus. Okay, ever since the All-Star weekend when he got picked for the All-Star Challenge, the Rising Stars Challenge, or whatever you want to call it, pick the rookies and the sophomores. His confidence has gone up, and Skip and I, you and I have talked about this, about him and Scotty Barnes being there for the All-Star weekend and how that might have psychologically affected them. And I think it's amazing to see what Precious has been doing since then. And we could talk about my boy Scotty Barnes all day till we blue in the face. All right? Okay? But the two of them have stepped up. Now, they do look like the future of the Toronto Raptors because when you do think about it, the Raptors did give up Kyle Lowry for Mr. Never Come Here and Play, Mr. Only 5 games, go to Brooklyn, try something, right? But they did get Precious Achiuwa, a 22-year-old, and Scotty Barnes, and a 21-year-old. And instead of a rebuilding for the Raptors, they look like they're retooling. And they look like these kids can actually help the team. Now, based on the Raptors going forward, Prab, I'm going to ask you first, okay, how do you think these kids, especially Achiuwa, since we're showcasing him today, how do you think he can help the Raptors going forward? Because let's be quite honest, I'm going to say this. I said this last time, Skip. They're going to get the 6th seed. I don't think they're going to get the 7th seed. No play-in. They got to get the 6th seed. How do you think Precious can help them get to that point? Prab, take it away, my friend.
I think he's going to continue to do what he's done, which is play within his rules. That's the big issue with a lot of young players. You'll notice we saw this with Malachi Flynn. We saw this very early in the first couple games with Gary Trent Jr. was they try to play out of their role and try to do too much. And that's been an issue with a lot of young players, not just those two players, but I think that's what we were seeing from Precious early. And right now, what he's doing is, you'll notice, when he plays with Fred VanVleet, he gives him the ball right away. Earlier in the season, he would have taken that ball and tried to attack the basket to look for his own shots. So I think what I want to see continuously from Precious is good quality minutes. As you talked about, Dougie, his minutes that he plays, he's playing great defense, which I want to continue to see him in. Him more with the starters, just give him that opportunity, because we're going to be seeing playoffs. Is that their starters and the two, maybe we're going to go with a 7 or 8 man rotation, which is going to include Precious Achiuwa. Yeah. I want him to get more and more comfortable playing with the starters, and also just continue to do what he's been doing lately, which is just hit those 3-point shots and make better plays, which I think he's very well capable of doing. So if he continues to do that, I think that is going to be key to helping the Raptors really get past the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I do believe.
Uh-oh, I think we lost you. All right, I'm going to jump in here.
Okay, Skip, go.
Yeah.
Go. What are you going to say?
So, now I'm a little lost on my point.
Prob's frozen.
Prob is frozen. Oh, boy. You back?
Okay.
Prob.
There we go. We got
Hello?
you back. We all live in this day and age with the COVID and the pandemic where we're all in the Zoom chats, and it gets a little tricky. Okay? Prob, would you like to do this before Skip jumps in?
Yeah. We got you back.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, guys, I've told you, my internet is the least stable, especially on a rainy day when the weather isn't good. The connection just goes so bad. So what I was saying, I don't know if you guys...
It's always raining.
You cut out right at the end there. You cut out.
Okay, so you guys did hear me when I was talking about Precious playing his role and 3-point shooting. Perfect. You got that in. So I didn't just rant on for no reason. Yeah. So I think with Precious Achiuwa, just continuously playing his role and hitting his shots and just playing good defense, which will be a big part of the Raptors just moving forward. I mean, obviously, we have our starters playing good and heavy minutes. We got our offense mostly from Gary Trent, Fred VanVleet, Scottie Pascal. Obviously, OG is out as well, but now it'll be on Precious and Chris Boucher just to pick up the slack on offense and just produce some points, which I think Precious is able to do. As long as he's able to give us anywhere from 10 to 11 points a game, I think that's good enough for Precious, and that's what I want to see from him moving forward.
Skip, would you like to say anything to that?
Yeah, so I think, as you mentioned, Precious has looked a lot better since the All-Star break. He really does look like he's turned a corner. And as much as those criticisms still hold up in the broad scope of things, but he has much more played his role and learned how to impact winning in a good way. And he actually has a really good when he plays with the starters, with the other 4 starters. I think it's when he slots into OG Anunoby's slot, which he's basically doing right now. They have a really, really good defensive rating, and they basically, I don't know what the numbers are. Nikias Duncan mentioned this in his article about Precious the other day.
He's a plus 2.7.
Yeah, but in that specific lineup, he's quite a positive player on the defensive end as well as just overall. So I think what they're going to do is over the next couple of weeks, they're going to try him out in that starting role and really work him into that rotation and let him flourish a little bit more, and let him just kind of find, like I was just saying, find his exact role. Maybe with the starters, he won't be forced to freelance as much. He'll be able to kind of, all right, like Pascal, you take the ball. VanVleet, you take the ball. Scottie, you take the ball. And Precious just there to do some rebounding, to do some spot-up shooting, to play some great defense. I mean, that's his optimal role right now. If you're not focused on developing him for the future, then he needs to be in this slot where he's maximizing his ability to impact games in the present. And I think putting him in the starting lineup has been, and obviously Ken Burch has struggled quite a bit, so there's a lot of other reasons for that. But I think absolutely Precious has earned the opportunity to start, and I'd like to see him continue starting going forward.
Okay. Let me ask you guys this, based on what both you guys have just said. After you cut out Prab, we lost you for a minute. Okay. He last year, people keep forgetting this is only his second year. Last year he was playing underneath Bam. He barely started any game. I think he started 5 off the top of my head. Now that he's here with the Raptors, Masai always knows what he's talking about when it comes to drafting players and recruiting players and getting players on the roster. He does have an idea and he does have a vision, and we have trusted him. Hence the championship banner sitting right beside you, Prab. But do you think now that Precious has, I guess you could say, stepped out of the shadow from Bam in Miami, now that he's here on the Raptors, and Skip, you said the word freelance, do you think this can help him, like you said, flourish within the Toronto Raptors organization going forward, like being groomed to help these Raptors get back into where they should be? Yes, I said it, ladies and gentlemen, where they should be.
In the NBA final.
So?
In the NBA finals, yeah.
Exactly.
No,
winning a championship, spoiling all these Drake fans, saying every loss is horrible. I'm not even going to get into that. You've seen some of those people on our mutual pages. They talk a lot of smack. I don't like it. But do you think that he can possibly be a good piece to get the Raptors back to where they should be?
I think so. I think in the future, definitely yes. I wouldn't say as far as to say, because like you mentioned, he's only in his second year and people were being a little bit critical of him, despite he's 22, 23 years old, and people seem to forget that he
22.
is so young. 22, there you go. And the fact that I believe he played about 10 minutes a game, not even last season. And like you said, he was playing under Bam. So he's gone from one organization like the Miami Heat, which is amazing at developing talent, to another just as great organization like the Raptors. So you need to have a little bit of patience. You can't expect him to go, from playing 10 minutes to becoming a superstar. So I think patience is key. He will continue to help the Raptors as the season progresses. But as for now, I think he could definitely be a key part in a series against, I know this is a little bit off topic, but if we face the Celtics, I think he's going to be that player that makes a difference because
Whoa.
Who
do you think he's got in the Celtics? Who do you think he's guarding?
He's guarding whoever. He's guarding Jason Tatum. He's guarding Al Horford. He's guarding Jaylen Brown if he gets switched on. The last time we faced the Celtics.
Wait, let me hang on a second.
Like he gets to LeBron on Monday night.
Are you predicting that the Raptors are going to make the 6th seed, beat the Sixers, and the Celtics are going to upset the Bucks, and then we're going to face the Celtics in the second round? Is that what you're predicting?
No. So I
like that.
Just in terms of how well the Celtics have been doing lately, it could be anything's possible. I think it could be a 4-5 matchup with the Raptors and the Celtics. That's what I'm suggesting.
Wow, okay.
Or if
the Celtics, anything is possible. You really went with the Kevin Garnett.
Anything is. Or if by any chance, the Celtics continue to win and the 76ers, who I believe have lost a couple games, drop down to the 4th seed, and we face, 3rd seed Celtics and we're the 6th seed. So NBA is crazy.
Actually, in my scenario, the Celtics would probably be upsetting the Bulls. But anyway, they could pass the Bulls. They could pass the Bulls. You're right. But I find it hard to see the Raptors facing the Celtics in the first round right now. That would probably be a second round matchup, and they'd both be on the lower side of the bracket. So I don't think that's going to happen. But
yeah,
that's neither here nor there.
No, that was just
Okay. So with Precious, I got to ask this question again. This is probably the 3rd week in a row I've asked this question. Skip, I know your opinion. Prab, do you really think the Raptors can make it into the 6th seed? They're one game behind.
Yeah.
One game.
100%. 100%.
Well, now I do. They just won 4 in a row.
No, but I think
last week I said it was.
You said no last week, Skip.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
To beat Phoenix and Denver back to back,
What are you flip flopping for? What are you, Jay-Z and Kurtz and Tinkle?
Yeah.
Come on.
But to Skip's defense, one other huge factor we have to take into consideration is when the Raptors and the Cleveland Cavaliers played last time, Jared Allen suffered an injury. I can't remember the specific injury, and they said he'd be out.
It was his finger.
That's what it was, yeah. And he was out 2 to 3 weeks. And there you go. So he's out 2 to 3 weeks, and that's a big part. That's a huge loss for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know often big men are forgotten about, but someone like Jared Allen has helped their defense so much, and you're seeing it. The Cleveland Cavaliers are slipping, and they're trying to play Evan Mobley at the center position, but Evan Mobley's great, but Jared Allen is Jared Allen. So I think that's a huge loss for them. And they had a tough schedule. They have a really tough schedule against some really good teams too. So I predicted this. I said the Cavaliers are having one of those seasons like the Knicks did last year. And I know they're two completely different rosters, but the Knicks fans were a little bit too hyper last season because they got I can't remember, the 4th or 5th seed or wherever they were last season. And
they got
yeah. So I think the Cavaliers are a good team. They definitely exceeded their expectations, but I think the Raptors will definitely overtake them. I'm going on a bold take, and I just dropped a video today saying that I think the Raptors could get to the 5th seed. I really do.
Woo!
Yeah, maybe if Chicago continues losing, yeah.
Chicago's got another 6 or 7 games against really good playoff teams, like top 4 teams in each conference, I believe. You can hold me accountable to that, but I think I was looking at their schedule. They have a really tough schedule to end the season.
We'll talk to you at the end of the season about this.
Yeah. What's that?
So we'll talk to you at the end of the season about this.
We will, definitely. But
Skip,
yeah,
Skip, what do you got to say about that?
About what? Well, I mean, I can see the path a lot more than I could a week ago because, like I said, a week ago the Raptors were struggling and they just lost to Detroit and Orlando, and I'm sitting here like we're barely even going to make the 8th seed now. But I mean, you're right. Like it would have been a lot easier if we'd beaten Cleveland last week, but we lost to Cleveland last week, so now they have to.
You did say that.
Now they have to win that series. Now they have to pass Cleveland outright. They can't just tie them. So there's a little trouble there, but if you look at their 2 schedules, the Raptors definitely have the more favorable schedule. And again, like Chicago, like we were talking about, Chicago also could fall back. So there is a path for them to get to the 5 seed if they can play like they played this week. And obviously OG coming back at some point. But Van Vliet's knee is going to continue being an issue going forward. So we're going to have to see a lot more of Miracle Scotty.
Oh, what do you mean? Showtime Scotty?
Showtime Scotty, there you go.
That's what I'm calling him after what I saw against the Lakers. That's what I'm calling him. And then they're going to play the Clippers. I already put money down on that they're going to win. I already put money down that they're going to beat the Lakers again. Skip, I've been betting on this. Guys, this has been a great conversation. Prab, we're short on time. We love having you on every time. We love being on your show as well whenever we're humbled guests for you, right? Do you have any last thing to say to the Point people, the Raptors Nation out there?
Let's go Raptors, and I just want to thank you guys for having me on here. It's awesome. I know you guys have some amazing guests on here, so it's just cool to be part of, being on this channel often. So thank you guys for having me.
Hey, you're welcome anytime. All you gotta do is call me. That's it. Just message me. Skip, do you have anything last thing to say to anybody else as well? To say to anybody out there?
I just want to say back to our Precious conversation because we kind of
got
hi
to my mom
here.
Why can't you say hi to my mom? She's over here.
Hi, Mom. Just to get back to the Precious thing for a quick second, I'm just gonna say a couple weeks ago I saw someone on Twitter. I think this person was being serious, but I couldn't really tell. Say that Precious was in their mind a better prospect than Scotty Barnes, which made my eyes bug out of my head.
Like this?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's absolutely insane. But I think the fact that someone could even say that tells you how much room for growth there might be in Precious, and the fact that it's not inconceivable that he could develop into an all-star sometime down the road. But for now, he's a really exciting player on this team, and he just needs to play his role, and we'll see where it goes from there.
That person basically just said, how can I tell you I don't know anything about basketball without saying it directly?
Yeah. That's
all I heard.
The difference is Pascal and Precious and Scotty both have great physical skills. But you can't tell me that Precious has the basketball IQ, the passing ability, the vision that Scotty Barnes does. You can't.
That's what we spoke about. Yeah. But guys, this has been a great conversation. We're constrained for time. So this has been amazing. Prab, again, we love having you on. Dude, you're amazing. Your show, you guys go check that out, the Waraich Report. It's absolutely great. Like, I don't normally listen to it in the morning. I listen to it at night because it's calming. It pulls me down. This guy's voice is amazing. It's so smooth, so sweet. Like, I love it, bro. But he does give you facts, and he gives it to you. Like, you let it know. It's not like in your face, like how I am. Sorry. So Prab, thank you very much for coming back on again. We appreciate it. You did a great job today. Skip, you sucked as usual. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Thank
I'm
you.
kidding.
Thank you.
I'm kidding. I love you. You know I love that hair. You should have pulled it out. So on behalf of myself, Skip, aka Simon Brodeur, you guys know where to find him. SimonBrodeur.com, Amazon.ca. Go buy the book. If you don't, you suck. You guys know where to find Prab on the Waraich Report. If you guys don't subscribe to that and watch his videos, you suck. Again. And if you guys aren't going down there, clicking subscribe, clicking like onto the point to try to get this Raptors 2 for yourself, we have more giveaways. That's only the beginning. So on behalf of all three of us, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
Peace.